What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Knives of the Round Table. My name is Marco, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Alliance Designs Angry Baby Bear. And the first thing I'm going to say about it is that I love the name. I think, the fact that they came up with that name, I think it's really awesome. I'm going to set it on a little eraser because otherwise it kind of tilts forward that way. So I was just going to stand right there. So the Alliance Designs Angry Baby Bear is a design by Ray Laconico, as it can be clearly seen billboarded right there. And it's a smaller knife, and it's one of the designs that is done. The design is Ray Laconico for Alliance Design, and it's manufactured by We Knives. So what you have is an M390 blade with a compound grind, and it's got like this really long harpoon with a swedge back here with a thumb ramp. It's a liner lock or I guess a full bolster lock. It's kind of strange because it's kind of a mix between a liner lock and a bolster lock. You've got inlaid carbon fiber on a titanium frame. Got a pocket clip. You don't have a lock bar insert, and it's a flipper. So let me give you some size comparisons here. It's not a huge knife. Here it is against the Para 2. And here it is against the Para 3. So you can see it's even a little bit smaller than the Para 3. And it just, and especially when folded, it folds very, very compact. Now, probably a better comparison is going to be against the bug outs. Here it is against the full-size bug out, and here it is against the mini bug out. So it's certainly somewhere in between those two. It's a little bit fatter than both. The bug outs carry very, very slim, but lengthwise and size-wise, I think. If you like the size of the bug out, then this is probably a knife that you'll enjoy carrying. So let's get started. Ergonomics on this knife are actually pretty good. They have rounding. This carbon fiber, it's not a flat surface. It's a rounded surface that you have here. And then you have a little bit of contouring. It's a fairly neutral handle, but for a neutral handle, it actually feels very, very good in the hand. This rounding that they've done on the scales on both sides is actually really, really comfortable. It's really, really well done. So it fits really nicely in the hands. I wear size large gloves, and I get a full 4-finger grip, if barely. I mean, I have no room in the back whatsoever. Maybe a lanyard would help a little bit better. And you don't really have a finger choil. You have like this sharpening choil up here. So it really, the position of the knife is back here. The pocket clip, it's a little bit of a hot spot, at least in my hands, the way I want to grip it, because the clip ends up right here in my hand. It doesn't go all the way back to the hollow of my hand, so I feel it a little bit, but the ergonomics are actually pretty decent. The action on this knife, it's not what I expected. This is the first knife that I have that is OEM is We Knives. Most of the OEM knives that I've seen in the past have either been most of them are Riyadh made, and Riyadh has dialed in the action really, really well, and this one feels like it's missing a little bit. It's not as smooth going out. It's not as smooth coming back. Closing it is far from drop shot. I can't, I have to really, really, really coax it down if I wanted to drop. So and this is, I've taken it apart, lubed it, tuned it. So this is the, let's say, the fine-tuned version, and so the action it's okay. It deploys reliably. You know, it's fast. It's snappy, but it doesn't feel as smooth as what I'm used to from Riyadh. So I don't have a lot of experience with Wii knives. I don't have any other Wii knives or Wii branded knives, but in my limited experience, I think the Riyadh action is just far superior. This feels like a step or two in evolution behind what Riyadh is being able to do. Now, that said, we'll get to fit and finish, and we'll talk about some of the grinds here, because I think they're a lot closer in that regard. Now, cutting's actually very good. It has this hollow grind. Let me try and shift the blade a little bit so it catches the light. So it's got a hollow grind, and I love the compound grind. If you follow my channel for any length of time, you know that I'm a sucker for these compound grinds. So it has a more robust tip up here in the front, but this area here, it just cuts really nicely. It slices very well. It's not the thinnest stock in the world, but the hollow grind, and it's a tall hollow grind with a harpoon, it actually cuts very well. It's a little bit weird because you see that it's not your imagination. If I put a straight edge on it, and I don't want to put too much of a straight edge on it, but you see it's got this point right at that location right here. Can you see that? And it's a little bit strange. It's a little bit strange. The cutting, it almost wants to act like a belly, but you got a very pronounced belly in that specific location. It's not a constant belly, so the cutting doesn't feel, it feels effective when you're pushing through material, but if you're slicing through material, if you're slicing like skinning or that kind of cut, then that creates a little bit of a problem here. Now, fit and finish. I would say that in the blade, it's really good. I love, so the grind lines that they've done here in the blade, it looks like a hand rub satin in the flats, and you got the grind going in the different direction in both the swedge and the tip. All of that, I think, it's really well done, and I would say that it's as well done as what Riyadh does. I think it looks really nice. It's really beautiful. I think it's consistent on both sides there, and it just looks really nice. I think the inlay of the carbon fiber is really nicely done. There's no gaps, there's no seams. It feels like a solid piece. It's really precise, and I think it's beautifully done. I think all of that works really well. My two complaints are, well, the biggest one is that there's no lock bar insert. I don't like it when the titanium is just in contact with the steel. I think, at the price point that this comes in, you need to have lock bar insert. You start getting a little bit of lock stick, and you have a little bit of that here. And the longevity of the knife will just not be the same. But what my biggest gripe is I don't know if you can tell, but the scale, it contours this way, but when it gets to this gap in the middle where the blade goes, it's a sharp edge. So it comes at an arc like this, and then you have a really sharp edge right here in this point, and it's very uncomfortable when you're trying to disengage the lock bar. Whenever you try to push on that lock bar, it's not hard, but you get this line because it's not rounded. It really should have been chamfered in here for easier access and for a more comfortable disengagement. I think the lack of chamfering in here, in this area right here, I think that's a miss on either designer or the production of the knife, I think it's I think that should be addressed. I don't think that should be that way. Now, it's a very interesting design, but I feel like they did things here that just don't make a lot of sense. So we're gonna move into my airing of grievances here, and that point right there, it has no functional no functional purpose that I can discern. When you have a belly, you have this smooth skinning action that you can do, but this it almost looks like it's flat from here to here, and then a little bit rounded here, and then it goes flat from here to here. It's not exactly flat anywhere, but that's what it looks like. So it looks bizarre, and it performs really strangely. It's a very unique blade shape, and I think it's unique just for sake of being unique. I don't think it serves it. I haven't found a use that I would say, oh, this works, that point works exactly good for this specific application. I haven't found one yet. The fact that they didn't round anything here is baffling to me. I don't think that anybody really used the knife before they sent it out. They would have realized that something's off in the disengagement bar right here in the lock bar. And then finally, I would say that the action needs a little bit polishing. It doesn't feel as smooth. It is on bearings, it's on ceramic bearings, so you would expect a much better action. But it feels like a generation or two behind what Riyadh is doing, which is strange because the fit and finish of the titanium, the milling of the inlay of the carbon fiber, all of that is beautifully done. I think the rounding of the scales, it's very comfortable in the hand, and the grind lines on this area of the knife, and all of that is beautifully done. But it just feels like they did a lot of things well, and then they skimped on things that maybe they shouldn't have. So I think it's a very interesting knife. I think I don't like the Laconico billboarding. It's just a little much for my taste. So there's things here that I definitely like quite a bit, but there's things that here that I definitely that they definitely bother me. So if you don't mind this discomfort of disengaging the lock bar, or the fact that it doesn't have a lock bar insert, if you don't mind that little point there, then it's really an interesting knife, and it's really well done. It's well executed, and it feels well in the hand. But for I don't think this is gonna stick around in my collection very long, precisely because of that little thing and the lock bar. It's just there's just something here that is not quite right, in my opinion. So guys, it's hard to do a review when you don't recommend the knife, but I feel like not all reviews can be glowing and positive. So hopefully you get something out of it, and if you think that I earned your subscription, then subscribe. Otherwise, just give me another chance with another knife that you like. And until I see you again, then take care.